The Pirates break out the brooms and complete their series sweep at home against the Dodgers. MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, and we are underway.
When that final out is made, you know it's time for Locked On MLB Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. Prepare to experience game day reactions like never before. Only on Locked On MLB Game Night. Your team every day.
And here we go. We are off and running and ready to have a little fun with our latest edition of MLB Game Night. He is Lindsay Crosby. Lindsay is the host of Locked On Braves Postcast. You can follow him on the X at Crosby Baseball. I'm Steve Lenox, host of the Locked On Red Sox Postcast. You can follow me on the X at Lenox on Baseball. Lindsay, we've got a lot to do, although an abbreviated schedule, but here we go. Hey, the Phillies take the series in Milwaukee. Yankees, a long one in Houston, but they take the finale as Trent Grisham homers again, and the Rays extend their win streak as well. Our latest Locked On MLB Game Night show is presented by 5 Hour Energy. Enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for two to any golf tournament in the USA. Visit 5hewin.com. That's 5hewin.com for full rules and entry. No purchase necessary. Excludes the Masters tournament. Ends October 31, 2025. So 8 games on the schedule. We're going to, or actually just 6 games?
6 games.
Right? Let's do the math. 6 games on the schedule. Let's start Thursday afternoon in Milwaukee. Ranger Suarez and the Phillies bullpen combining for the 2-0 shutout win against the Brewers. With that, they take 2 out of 3. And we're going to hear from both Connor Thomas, Locked On Phillies. First, we're going to hear from Chuck Freeman, Locked On Brewers. And, you know, if you listen to Chuck right off the top here, Lindsay, it's basically, you know what, Chuck? It's playoff time. You now get a sense of what playoff baseball is going to be all about, because every pitch, every inning, so important come October.
That was an exhausting game, man. The Brewers, I'll tell you, we're living on every pitch. This is an exhausting season. Even though they got the best record in baseball, man, it's wears you out. Hey, everybody, Chuck Freeman, it's The Reaction. I'm laughing, but I'm crying because the Brewers dropped 2 or 3 to these guys, to the Phillies. After winning last night, came back number of times. They had guys at scoring. They had guys at second and third, nobody out, couldn't get the runner in. Monasterio just missed a home run in the 9th. Payamps had already given up an insurance run for the Phillies, so it made it 2-0 at that point. So I don't know if that would have made much of a difference. But Peralta ran into a high pitch count early. Only went 5 innings. He was great, but he just had to get him out of there in 5 innings. Nothing wrong with the pitching staff. Couldn't get a clutch hit today. Wash this one away, move ahead to Pittsburgh for first of a 3-game set. Brewers just swept them a 3-game series a few weeks ago at AmFam Field. Talk to you later on tonight, next edition of Locked On Brewers.
So, again, Phillies take 2 out of 3 in this series. Not panic time for the Brewers, but I get a sense 3+ weeks left in the regular season. We hear from Chuck right there. This is a team that just, you're playing out the stretch. You're probably going to win the Central and the National League. You just want playoff baseball to be here ASAP.
Yeah, and it feels like, I think a little bit of his feelings probably come down to how they lost this game.
Yeah.
Because we've talked about all year about how the Brewers are fundamentally sound. They do all the things right, and they couldn't get hits or runs to scoring position. They've always been a little bit below average on power as a team. They can't get the big hit today, even though they try. And like, to his point, you're going to play these games in the postseason. Ranger Suarez, 3 relievers, like that's what you're going to face in October. And I'm sure he's going to think a little bit about that now until they can get another series win over a winning team. I don't think the Pirates count.
And the Brewers, we'll get into the Pirates here in just a moment as they wrapped up their series against the Dodgers. But the Brewers 0 for 10 runners in scoring position. They swept all 3 in Philadelphia. That series was late May, early June. So they get a sense of each other here in September. They do win the season series 4-2. After we hear from Connor Thomas, I want to put your feet to the fire. Who wins? We wouldn't call it a wild card round, but let's say division series, Brewers, Phillies. Who would win that series in your view? We'll get your thoughts on that right after we hear from Connor Thomas, Locked On Phillies. Connor's happy not only did the Phillies take 2 out of 3 in Milwaukee, but the Eagles season also underway Thursday night as well.
Shut out the Brewers and win the series in Milwaukee. What a great performance in the final game of this series. I'm Connor Thomas, your host of Locked On Phillies. Yeah, I'm in the Fanatic Studios right now for Birds Insider pregame show. There's Ray Dunn back there. But the Phillies grind doesn't stop, folks, especially not when they shut out the Brewers. What a big late performance by the offense, too. I know we were worried, what's going on? How can they not scratch runs across? But they come up big late. Alec Boehm, big-time triple. Trey Turner, a big RBI. Harrison Bader comes through offensively. And then in the ninth, Bader goes flying out in center field, take away what could have been a home run to make it a one-run game to help Joan Duran lock down another save. And Ranger Suarez was awesome as well. There's so much good to take out of this game and this series in Milwaukee. Are they starting to feel like a team with a little bit of momentum? Are they starting to feel like a team with a chance? Hey, maybe. And we'll talk more about it on the next episode of Locked On Phillies.
Not ready to completely commit there, but we got a strong maybe from Connor. I would sign up right now. Brewers, Phillies in a playoff series. Best 3 out of 5. Who would you take?
I think I'm taking Philly. As controversial as that sounds, simply because, one, we've seen them do it in the postseason. We haven't seen Milwaukee do it in the postseason, but it feels like if you're looking at these pitching staffs, Christopher Sanchez, Jesus Luzardo, Ranger Suarez, 3 tough lefties, versus you go to the Brewers, you're going to have something that's going to be Peralta, Priester, and Woodruff for Mizorowski. I like the pitching better. I like the power better for Philly. I think Milwaukee's probably a better team over a full season, but in the postseason, it's all about small sample sizes. And I think that Philly has what it takes to get those small sample sizes.
Again, Phillies 2-0 victory in the opener. Ranger Suarez 11-6 with the victory. Robertson, Strom, and Duran all working a scoreless inning out of the bullpen for the Phillies. And Lindsay touched on it a little bit of the fact that you're going to get the starter, then you're going to get those bullpen guys. They can shorten up the game with Johan Duran at the back end of that bullpen. Phillies in Miami this weekend, back at home for 4 against the Mets. That series starts next Monday. Brewers on the road now for 6 in a row, 3 at Pittsburgh and 3 in Arlington, Texas against the Rangers. Let's get into the Pirates. They wrap up their series and win. Had another shutout and tack going to the 9th inning. Mookie Betts a home run. 5-3 turns out to be the final. With that, we hear from Gary, Locked On Pirates on this one.
Jolly Roger in Pittsburgh. The Bucks just swept the LA Dodgers out of PNC Park. Made it interesting in the bottom of the 9th there, but Paul Skeens secures a win, puts himself in the up column on the win-loss record thing, and the Cy Young voting. Under 2 ERA now, 1.98. My goodness. This is Gary from Locked On Pirates. What a series for the Pittsburgh Pirates. They just absolutely dominated the Dodgers off the mound. The first game was an interesting offensive seesaw battle. The second game, a shutout by the Pirates. This one, 3 outs away from being the Pirates' 18th shutout. The Pittsburgh Pirates have the most shutouts in baseball. They also have the most times being shut out in baseball. That's never happened before. The Pirates have a chance to be the first team to do that. What a dubious and interesting mark. But tonight is Paul Skeens' night. He was brilliant. He really was. The bullpen just held on to keep it together for him and secure the victory for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Man, that's a high to be going into a Milwaukee series on. Are the Pirates going to play giant killers the rest of this season? Let's see. More on this tomorrow.
Skeens terrific. He's got a winning record now, ERA below 2. He's now closing in on 100 career starts, and his ERA hovering right around that 2 mark. It's impressive. But as Gary said, they are playing giant killers to a certain extent because they've had success against winning teams of late. Saw it last weekend when they went to Fenway and took 2 out of 3 against the Red Sox.
And before that, they got Toronto for 2 out of 3 at home. It's just like this is one of those things. I kind of touched on it a little bit with the Brewers Phillies hypothetical. Like really good pitching can change things, and Pittsburgh has the pitching. They just have to figure out the offense. They don't have the they don't have the power, the consistency. Hence why they've been shut out so much. But this pitching, when this pitching is there, and it's almost always there in a Paul Skeens start, they look like one of the it's really, really hard to beat them. They went in there, faced a team with 3 MVPs, and had a shutout into the 9th. and got the sweep. It's just, that's what pitching can do for you when it's as good as what the Pirates have.
Dodgers now 3 games under 500 on the road this season. They're off to Baltimore, 3 against the Orioles. That series starts Friday night in Charm City. They've got Glasnow, Yamamoto, and Kershaw, and it looks like Shohei Ohtani is going to start Monday at home against the Colorado Rockies.
Oh, what a it almost feels like it's kind of a waste of using those 3 guys against Baltimore and then Colorado. But just, I mean, this is the schedule. They have one of the easiest schedules down the stretch of anybody in baseball. So, I mean, I feel they're probably going to win the division again, but I can't believe there's like 4 or 5 teams with a better record than LA right now. That just shows you how weird the season's been.
Trent Grisham might get lost in the Yankees lineup, but Grisham on Thursday night going deep in the heart of Texas. We've got the details next as the Yankees take 2 out of 3 against the Astros. It's MLB Game Night.
It's time to fuel it up and turn it up with 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. This great ginger and lime flavored shot brings the iconic taste of a golf course favorite with a non-alcoholic boost. It's perfect for sinking birdies or making great memories with friends. It's a hole-in-one for your energy game. Whether you're out on the course or just need a little extra push to power through your day, 5-Hour Energy Transfusion delivers the clubhouse flavor you love without ever leaving the green. Golf is all about good times with good people and good flavors. The grape ginger lime flavor 5-Hour Energy Transfusion gives you the best part of your clubhouse go-to without leaving the course or chasing down the beverage cart. And now you can amp up the fun even more. Just buy, snap, and enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for 2 to any golf tournament in the U.S. So tee up that trip. Visit 5hewin.com for full rules and entry. No purchase necessary. Excludes the Masters Tournament. Ends October 31st, 2025.
MLB Game Night. Every game, every night. We've got just over 3 weeks plus left in the Major League Baseball regular season. Yankees, Lindsay closing out their series against the Astros. This game, Chuck touched on it with the Phillies Brewers. A long game. You're kind of tired of it. This was old Yankees. No clock. This was a 3-hour plus game, and it was a slog. Yankees end up winning it. We're going to hear from Brian McKean in just a moment. But, if you did the over-unders at the beginning of the season, Yankees outfielder Trent Grisham, you probably, if they set the line at 20 home runs, you probably were thinking, take the under.
Yeah.
Take the under, but he hit his 30th of the season. I mean, this is a lineup that, again, you've got Judge. When you've got Stanton in there, you're thinking Stanton. Just up and down. Bellinger in the lineup. The different guys that they can beat you. Jazz Chisholm will touch on him in just a moment because he did leave this game with not 1 but 2 injuries to his knees. But Grisham is going to be a free agent at the end of the year. If you're the Yankees, and it's on social media right now, give him a contract, let him, give him the money, give him the dollars, give him the years, or are you just going to say, thank you very much. We think you had a career year. Go do your damage elsewhere.
I think it's the career year thing. I mean, his previous season high was 17 homers, and that year he hit 184. He's outperforming everything. And not to be one of those guys, like if you go and you look at his StatCast profile, there's a lot of blue on there. And he's just kind of, like he's taking advantage, probably a little bit of the short porch. He's doing some good work. I don't necessarily think this is sustainable going forward every single year. I don't want my team to sign him. I'll put it that way. Somebody will. I don't want my team to do it.
Hey, there's the cat's out of the bag. We've let it out of the bag. I've got a couple of years on you. As a kid, you're just watching games. You're not thinking about contracts and all of that. But one of the first guys I ever, hey, he's in a walk year, so he had a big year. He played for the Braves. He played for the Mets. He played for the Yankees. He played for some other teams as well. You can throw the Oakland A's in there. Claudel Washington, when his contract was up, always had a good season going into a free agent offseason.
I mean, and he got paid because of it. Like that's the best time to do it. And I'm just kind of going back and looking real quick and kind of thinking about what he did. That final year in Atlanta, the final full year, he hits 276. I get it. The year before he hit 286. Like, I absolutely understand this. Some guys just time these things right, don't they? And I feel like Grisham's definitely doing that now, but I don't want to commit to him long term.
Let's hear from Brian McKean, one of our co-hosts with MLB Game Night. Also does a terrific job with Locked On Yankees.
Big 8-4 victory for the Yankees in Houston as they close out the series, taking 2 out of 3 down south. I'm Brian McCann from Locked On Yankees, and everything you could have possibly wanted in this game, particularly the bulldog effort out of Carlos Rodon, who has been so incredibly consistent for this team. The ERA in the low threes this year, unbelievable performance out of him. Again, bulldog mentality. And then David Bednar, the true bulldog, out of the bullpen, back end. Bring him in to get some work, and you were kind of afraid he can work himself into trouble, but he did work himself into trouble and worked his way out of it. So that can give you a lot of confidence going forward. They go into a huge series against the Blue Jays. Cam Schlittler starting tomorrow. Absolutely massive for this team to get the victory in the series in Houston. Let's keep this rolling.
Bednar, Brian mentioned, watched him in the ninth inning, over 30 pitches. I mean, they grind him right now. They pick him up from the Pirates. They've used him for 2 innings. He's thrown a ton of pitches for them. Bases loaded, 1 out. A run across in that bottom of the ninth inning. Struck out Carlos Correa on a 3-2 pitch. Went 3-1, got him with a breaking ball, worked the count full, went inside, jammed him, struck him out. Then he struck out Christian Walker to end it. But Bednar, we talk about all these relievers picked up at the deadline who haven't done the job, including a couple of Yankee pickups. Bednar has done the job in huge fashion for the Yankees.
I honestly worry, though, that they're riding him too hard because the other guys haven't done their job. And this kind of thing, like a lot of the issues, and you can see it in this game, a lot of the things about this game could come back and bite the Yankees in the postseason. They had 3 errors in this one. Again, Bednar has very inefficient 33 pitches. This is just they lose Jazz to injury, and now they're questionable depth in the infield. They've had questionable depth all year. This is the kind of stuff that downed the Yankees in the World Series, right? Some bad pitching performances, some defensive errors, a notable one in that 5th inning. This is a microcosm of the issues with the New York Yankees. Yes, they can win. They mashed a couple of homers, but also they're a flawed team, and that's why they're not in first place.
We don't normally do this, but I'm going to pull a little audible here. We're going to move Rays, who extended their win streak on Thursday night, to the last segment number 3, because I want to continue with this a little bit. Carlos Rodon picks up his 16th win on the season. I was watching the game on David Cohn with Michael Kay, and there was a line drive to third base. Ryan McMahon caught it. It was ruled they couldn't review it. It was ruled that on the exchange. A trap. No, it's more on the exchange. Okay. And they, and they were a little bit confused by it as well. Aaron Boone came out. This was a series where, I was fully expecting either Joe Espada or Aaron Boone to get tossed. They were frustrated, both sides, with the umpires the entire series. But Carlos Rodon, again, 16th win on the season. He doesn't always show poise on the mound. He did it in that, and he got the final out, showed some emotion. But I really thought that was a situation where he could have, sort of gone south, and did not. I was actually impressed with how he commanded himself in that situation, because again, frustrating throughout, and McMahon absolutely made the catch on the ball.
Yeah. Brian mentioned bulldog mentality. That kind of works both ways at times, right? These guys can be a little too emotional and kind of can get caught up in the emotion. I also know there's been a lot of stuff going on with umpire Brian Walsh. We normally don't have to make notes on the rundown about who the umpire was, but there's been just a lot of bad calls, a lot of just really unfortunate umpiring decisions. The exchange and the bobble from McMahon. I don't understand why this product continues to have umpiring that is so bad. We have a solution to fix the balls and strikes, and it's the challenge system. They use it in AAA. It adds about 10 seconds whenever there's a successful challenge.
Right.
And, I'm not the person that wants full robo umps. I don't want full automated balls and strikes, but the challenge system lets you fix the egregious mistakes. And I think that's kind of that's what gets everybody mad. If an umpire gives slightly off the edge of the plate to both teams all game, not a big deal. But when you blow a very obvious call, like ball strike call or whatever, that's what get people mad. And this game kind of reminded me of just how bad the umpiring has gotten recently. On the whole, they're better than they used to be, but the mistakes are just more and more egregious.
Yankees go home. 3 against the Blue Jays, 3 back in the division in the AL East, 3 this weekend with Toronto, then 3 against the Tigers, and then they're off to Boston next weekend for a series against the Red Sox. Schlittler, Gosman, Heel, Scherzer, and Fried Bassett, the pitching matchups. On the other side, the Astros are now on the road for 9 in a row. 3 in Arlington, Texas, so stay in state. Then 3 to Toronto, and that's not an easy trip to make from Texas all the way up to Toronto. And then they've got 3 in Atlanta. So this is interesting for the Astros here because I'm sure this has been circled on their schedule for quite a while.
Yeah, Houston has one of the tougher schedules remaining in the season. I mean, Texas, they have 6 with Texas still. They still have Seattle after this to take care of. One of the tougher schedules to finish up the year. That's not an easy road trip. You mentioned it. The Braves just got done with the 3-city 10-game road trip, and by the end, the guys were all like, "We're gassed," even though they had an off day in there. It was just one of those. All of the constant travel, getting to that third city, really takes something out of you. I've noticed.
100%. Speaking of taking things out of a team, the Rays somehow, some way, they've worked themselves back into the conversation when it comes to the AL wild card. They extended their win streak on Thursday. We'll have details next. Again, it's MLB Game Night.
There's nothing like catching a baseball game live. The energy, the crowd, the chance to see your team in person, but actually getting tickets, that can be the tough part. Queues, login screen, surprise fees. It takes all the fun out of it, and that's why I use Game Time. It's the app that gives the advantage back to fans. Game Time is fast, easy, and backed by the Game Time guarantee. You'll always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time and at the best price, plus all fees are included. So the price you see is the price you pay. You know the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. As somebody who buys a ton of tickets, everything from baseball to concerts, the fees are the worst part. So download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONMLB, LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today.
Segment number 3, and we've got 3 games from Thursday to recap here in our final segment, MLB Game Night, every game, every night. Steve Lenox, Lindsay Crosby, glad you're with us. Don't forget to tell your friends all about us. And we'll start segment number 3, Guardians-Rays opening up a 4-game series down in Tampa, Florida. And all of a sudden, blink of an eye, 7 straight wins now for the Rays. They've won 7 in a row, 10 of 12. Rangers, Royals, and Rays, all within 2 games of the Mariners for that number 3 wild card spot. We touched on the Astros and their 9-game road trip. The Mariners may have their sights on Houston and the division title, but they've got some breathing down their neck right now from those 3 teams I just mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 4-game deficit for Seattle, but I agree with you. They can't look ahead. They got to look backwards. This has been something they have struggled at times to score outside, and which is weird because Kyle Rowley's been so good. But the Rays seem to somehow always do this, right? They get rid of pieces at the deadline. They're running the low payrolls, but they just somehow hit these late. They waive Ha-Seong Kim, and they end up making a late run here. They're 8-2 in their last 10 games. They've won 7 in a row. Like, they're just a lot better than I think we all thought they would be. And part of me wonders, is it not having so many home games in the back half of the schedule? They were front loaded into that ballpark.
Right.
And I feel like some of their strength was the pitching staff that they had with Ryan Pepio and some of these guys, and getting them out of that park. Is that helping them have a second half surge?
Yep, 4-2 the final as the Rays take game 1 of the series against the Guardians. You mentioned Pepio. Did not allow a hit. 5 scoreless, 11th win on the season. Christopher Morel, 3 hits, including an RBI single. That in the first inning. Got this note from Rays announcer Rich Hollenberg. The Rays on the board first, scoring first in 8 straight games. Now 52-22 on the season when scoring first. That's a big part of it. Manufacture runs, figure out how to get them in early, and give your pitchers an early lead to work with. That does lead to success a lot of the time.
As a very young team, which they have some veteran position players and Yandy Diaz, things like that, but their pitching staff's very young. That's the kind of thing that, like, we don't adequately measure the peace of mind and all of that stuff, but that's something that matters to these guys. Knowing that they have a lead, all they got to do is just pitch their game because they have a little built-in cushion that can help these guys mentally.
Guardians were being shut out until the top of the ninth inning. We've got more details. We'll have those and a couple of notes, but we'll hear from Justin Latta. He'll fill us in on the Guardian side. And really for Justin, Thursday just simply a microcosm of what has been their 25 season.
Waited too long to score runs on Thursday in Tampa Bay, the same way they've waited too long this season to play good enough baseball to be considered a legitimate playoff contender. This is Justin Latta from Locked On Guardians. Jose Ramirez came out of his funk to have 2 hits and a home run that kept the Guardians from being shut out. Kyle Manzardo followed the home run. Gave you just enough hope that they were going to maybe do something crazy and come back and win this game. The same way they keep giving Cleveland fans hope they get a little bit closer to chasing down the wild card spot as we wrap up September here. And then they go out and then they lose a couple of games and they fall a little bit further back. This time they're losing to Tampa Bay, a team that's creating some distance in front of them. They got 3 more there and they have 4 more with the Royals. They also have 3 with Texas. All the teams in front of them, all the Mariners still have to lose in that. Logan Allen was just okay, not good, not great. The Guardians made some weird pinch hitting decisions that may have taken them out of the game with a better chance to come back in the 9th inning. Gavin Williams goes on Friday. We'll talk about that and the importance of meaningful baseball on the next Locked On Guardians. Make sure you're there.
You know, all season long, or at least the last 6 weeks, I've gotten on the schedule makers for Major League Baseball of no Padres and Dodgers in the month of September. But who knew, as Justin said right there, you know, the Guardians, the Royals on the schedule, the Rays on the schedule, the Rangers on the schedule the rest of the way. So, you know, they did somehow, some way, in their own way, got this right, perhaps. I'm so excited for the chase down for that 3rd wild card spot.
Having actual meaningful games, I do think it's more coincidence than actual intentionality. I'd rather 100%. Than be playing divisional teams. I'd rather get Dodgers Padres, obviously, but it is nice to see that these teams will have a chance down the stretch to decide it on the field against each other instead of having to scoreboard watch because, you know, one team's playing an NL East opponent, the other team's playing an NL West opponent. It's like, well, no, we're playing other teams ahead of us in the standings. That's how it should be. Obviously, they can never do this, but can you imagine a world where they had dynamic schedules and could set those schedules up when they saw what the standings looked like? That'd be great.
Hey, down the road, when maybe I'm no longer of this earth, they'll wait until mid-August before they put the September schedule together. That's way down the road. Yeah, I'll just throw that out there now. Angels, Royals. Royals able to avoid the series sweep at home at Kauffman Stadium as they take the finale 4-3. Had to come from behind in this one. We're down 3-0. 4 solo home runs, including 1 from Bobby Witt Jr. That a solo shot with 2 down in the 8th inning, breaking the 3-3 tie, 4-3 the final. Witt, number 21 on the season. I always love to see this. When a team takes the lead, either bottom of the 8th inning or top of the 9th inning, the closer comes in, gets the job done. And boy, was I surprised when I saw Carlos Estevez gave up a 1-out double in the 9th inning, came back and struck out the next 2 batters. He now leads the majors with 37 saves on the season for the Kansas City Royals.
I feel like it's always a surprising person almost every year. Like, Ryan Helsley led baseball in 2024 in saves. Like, really, Ryan Helsley? Like, that team was not good. But
Chris
Ryan
Schubert
Helsley
just got the chill somewhere. Locked on Mets.
There you go. But yeah, no, like it's. I always get nervous sometimes. To your point, on the when you're maybe not expecting to have the closer, like to need him and have to kind of get him hot and hurry. Kind of what you're alluding to. Estevez, that 1-out double kind of made me a little pucker up a little bit, but nope, gets the strikeouts, gets it. It's very fitting for the Angels that all of their runs came on like in the 1st inning. Luis Rengifo hits a home run. They don't score again the rest of the game. It feels like they haven't been able to put together a complete game, right? The pitching will be good, but the offense will be bad. Offense will be good, pitching will be bad. And even when everything's not bad, like tonight, they only scored in the 1st inning and they're done. That's just kind of where the Angels have been this year.
Royals able to turn 3 double plays, the 37th blown lead of the season for the Angels. Somewhere John Frisch is saying, I just want to move on to 2026. We move on. Final game of the night from Thursday. Twins scored 5 runs in the 4th inning. They went up 5-3 on the White Sox. White Sox 5 in the 7th inning. Also got a home run in the 9th inning from Colson Montgomery to extend it a little bit further. And 11-7 the final in this one, the 4th game of the 4-game series between the White Sox and Twins. And the White Sox have now won, yes, a season high, 5 in a row. That's not a typo.
They won the season series over the Twins, too. The Twins continue to just tank. They're 6-16 in the last 22 games. What blows my mind is how well some of these young players that Chicago have gotten have integrated into the offense so quickly, right? Kyle Teal has 3 hits tonight, 4 RBI. Colton Montgomery already has 17 homers on the season. Chase Medroth has a 4-hit game. They've really been able, like, you can see it worked for the A's. The A's got all those young players to the majors, and they're doing well. You can see the White Sox right behind them, and the question kind of now becomes, who gets the pitching first? Do the A's get the pitching first? Right. Do the White Sox get the pitching first? But, I mean, they might still lose 100 games, but it's not worst record in baseball. And the offenses, you can see where that next year, a full season from Montgomery, from Teal, it could be there.
You know, they traded Crochet. They got a lot back, including Teal, and Braden Montgomery, who's knocking on the door as well, an outfielder that was a first-round pick by the Red Sox in 2024. But, you know, if they'd kept Crochet next year, you know, you alluded to it. They may hit 100 losses this year. They may just fall shy of that mark. But next year, if they go out in the market and, you know, pay for a little pitching or just continue to develop their pitching, that's going to bring them a long way too. But, you know, I always sort of teeter on that of, you know, Skeens. I was going to bring it up earlier with the Pirates. Yeah. You keep him because you're knocking on the door if you're the Pirates. You need offense. The White Sox, they need pitching. They need starting pitching for next year.
Yeah, and they've made some interesting draft picks of pitchers, and they have position players that they could always move. So, like, they can do this. They can get this. They have a record of running some decent payrolls in the past. They're shedding some salary with Luis Robert and things like that being gone. They absolutely could make this happen. It's going to be really interesting to see, do they try to do it in 26 or do they wait for the first post-lockout year of 27?
Oh, you said that word there. I cringed. Real quick, thoughts on the weekend series that you've got your eye on?
I love the pitching matchups for Yankees Blue Jays. It's divisional matchups, and it's Schlitter, Gosman, Gil Scherzer, Fried, Bassett. Fantastic matchups for all 3 days. Can't wait for that series.
That is going to be a wrap for us with our latest edition of MLB Game Night, part of the Locked On Podcast Network and available wherever you get your podcasts. MLB Game Night, every game, every night. For Lindsay Crosby, I'm Steve Lenox. We'll see you again Friday with another edition of MLB Game Night.